at it today here on a holiday weekend here in Canada, August the 5th. Long weekend. I was in Red Deer on Friday to join our beautiful colleague, Virginia Clark, who's normally my co-host on the Monday show. And I'm sure she's watching today, but two of her colleagues, Jill Younghusband and Lisa Horn, will be joining me in a few minutes for our self-improvement, self-care, empowerment, motivational Monday. So welcome to the show. And we're streaming live right now on Laurie Davis' Facebook page. Also, our two YouTube channels, Laurie Davis Show Host and 5 Minutes to No Limits. Also, the Disability Channel. I believe right now we are being featured on 15 different platforms, and we have approximately 25,000 viewers per episode. So we're really growing by leaps and bounds. We've just been on the air 4 months now, and we're very excited. And we're hoping that you're enjoying the shows, watching them as much as we enjoy doing them. So thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting the shows, and always, share the show, subscribe to our channels, leave comments, because all of these kinds of things help our ratings. And so that's all very good for us. So today we're going to talk about a very huge topic, and these gals and myself, I know, will be rich in content. So please get out your notepads, and love to welcome to the stage. We'll bring in our most further distant person. Just welcome and good morning to Lisa Horn. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
And where are you coming in from? Our viewers may not know.
Oh, for sure. I'm coming in from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Right on. And you've been part of the Self-Worth family for?
Just about 10 years. It'll be 9 years, but it sounds better when it's 10.
I know, it's like a decade. I've been here for a decade.
Yay.
So you have a lot of knowledge about our products or programs or services, your own personal journey. So I really appreciate you stepping in for Virginia today. And we can count on our team members for support when we need it. That's for sure. So thanks for being here, Lisa.
You bet. It takes two of us to replace Virginia, and that's all good.
Yeah, well, actually, it takes three of us, because now I'm going to bring Jill to the stage. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Yeah. And where are you coming in from, Jill? Say hi to everybody.
I'm coming in from Edmonton, Alberta.
Right. Yeah. And actually, Lisa, it takes three of us to replace, or two of you to replace Virginia. Yeah. Hope she's hearing that. Yeah. All right. So, Jill, you're fairly new to the Self-Worth family, but how are you enjoying your journey so far?
It's been exciting. It's been challenging. And I am just full of gratitude to have found it. I'm networking now with like-minded people who are looking at, having a healthier life, healthier relationships, all of the above. Mm-hmm. And so I'm grateful to be a part of it. Yes.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about denial, and we're not going to be talking about some river in Egypt either. Right? Denial. So, denial is one of the boxes that many of us live in. We know there's 4 very dysfunctional boxes that we all live in, but denial was my personal favorite. That was my go-to. And I was in denial about being in denial. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I was in denial. And I certainly did know that. So what would be let's start off with, what's our definition, or just off the top of our head, our own personal definition of denial? What is that? What is that?
It's not wanting to see what is. Mm-hmm. Because it hurts, it's uncomfortable, it means change.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. It's just, I don't want to see that. I don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. Because I want it to be different. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to hold on and hang on for dear life in hopes that it will be magically.
Yeah, that hope it'll just get better. It's going to get better. It's fine. It's fine. It'll get better.
Mm-hmm. Girls, I think we could give the View a run for its money.
Oh. Okay.
As we get into it, they'll see that.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Anything else, Lisa? Your definition.
Well, I thought I was fine because I could just handle it all. But being independent doesn't necessarily mean you're not in denial because you're not accepting the help of others. And even just the simple thing of being comfortable accepting compliments from others, right?
Mhm,
That goal of being interdependent, not
mhm,
independent.
mhm,
That was the wake up for me when I went through this week of the program was, oh yeah, there's another step to go
mhm,
from independent to really being open and willing to accept help and accept compliments and being totally comfortable in that.
mhm. Yeah, and we're going to go through the 5 steps. I'm going to go walk us through those because there's actually 5 steps. And once you recognize you're in denial, now how do I get out of there?
Mm.
And there's actually a process to that. But for me, it was I was one of those people who, if you asked me, "Oh, Laurie, like how are you doing?" Just great, just great. Everything's just wonderful, and I'm like dying inside, right?
Right.
I'm feeling like crap. I'm sad. I'm lonely. I'm mad, but I'm great. I could have got an Oscar for that smile. And that's another thing. When you get people who smile like intensely all the time, they're usually hiding behind that because they're hurting inside, and the smile fools us into thinking everything's okay. So a lot of people rely on that. They rely on their humor. I used to hide behind my humor because I was hurting. And so I do everything to make fun of things and make people laugh. And they say that, about comedians. I think about Robin Williams and, the sadness that was in him really, but he just blessed us all with so much laughter. So let's look at that. What are some ways that we can tell? Oh, my own little story. Um, my first husband tried to take his life twice in a week and then ended up on a missing persons list. And then when people would ask me if I'd go out with my girlfriends and they'd say, "Oh, are you married? Are you single?" I'd say, "Well, I'm widowed." "Oh, how did he pass away? I'm so sorry." "Well, he was killed in a really bad car crash." I told people that for 7 years. There's classic denial, right? So when you meet a person, how can you tell? What are some clues that they would give you that they're in denial?
Mm. This is still new to me. I honestly,
Okay,
nothing's coming to me right now because
that's okay.
I'm still processing. I just did the class last week or maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
They're red flags though. I know it's a red flag, but
Yeah.
uh, nothing's coming for me right now with that.
Okay, Lisa.
Well, I think some of it's can be seen in their body language, like the
Mhm,
closed body language, that if they're stiff or closed arms, you know,
mhm,
that kind of thing
mhm.
can also trigger that.
Yeah,
There's something closed in their in their how they're messaging to you.
yeah. Well, the classic line, always listen for this when people say things like, "Well, I'm a very private person. And I don't really share. And I don't another one is I don't really want to go there,
Oh,
right? You don't want to go there. Well, that's because you're in denial about what took place. And going there is the only thing that's going to bring you out. So I don't want to go there. I'm very private. And like you said, Lisa, stiff, rigid, closed.
or they don't want to talk about it.
No,
Mhm.
they actually pretend it never happened.
Ah,
Well, that didn't really happen that way. Or
right.
they'll say things like, "Oh, my grandma passed away, but you know what? I've already dealt with that." Well, you can't really deal with anything until you heal from it first. You have to grieve it and heal that. But people will, how we have this, we're brought up to put things under the carpet,
Mm.
brush it away like it never happened, put it under the carpet. Well, we just, we don't talk about that in our family. We're very private in our family. We don't talk about money and we don't talk about sex and we don't talk about the past. And mhm, there's lots of messages.
divide by 2 and forget about it is what I've heard many
Oh,
times.
I do and forget about it. Yeah. Yeah. So, what's one thing I shared one of my denial stories. Do either of you ladies have a situation, just one little situation where you were in denial about something in the
I've got
past?
one. I
Okay,
didn't
Lisa.
where I didn't really know, because as we go through the program, it's the reconnecting your head and your heart, right? So,
Mhm.
my friend and I decided to take a kickboxing class, and I'd never hit anything ever, but I'm like, sure. And I was in a period where I was going through some things with work and personal and stuff, and we set you up with a coach, and they say, okay, hit the bag, and and like, no, like right from your hip. Well, I hit it like 3 times, and all of a sudden the tears are just rolling down my face. And the coach was a sweetheart, and it scared the hell out of him, really. But I'm like, I'm okay, it's fine. But just the release. And it was just amazing because I didn't know I'd had those emotions
Mhm.
in there. And just hitting that bag was just, it changed, it just like opened a door, and it was freeing, really. But it's just one of those situations where you think you're going along okay and you're handling what you're handling, but you're really just stuffing it down. And that was a situation where hitting that bag just popped that
Wow.
popped that
Mhm.
right back open. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
you just don't, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, all the time, you don't
Yeah.
know what you don't know.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation.
Cool. Jill, can you think of a situation, little situation where you were in denial, you weren't willing to face the truth? Over to
Um,
you.
well, just in general with certain relationships in my life,
Mhm.
personal relationships where all of a sudden the behavior of someone changes and uh, I, I'm surprised. How do I deal with this? I care about this person. I'm not ready to end it, but oh my goodness, this person is not who I thought they were.
Right.
And I hang on because of my fear of abandonment,
Mhm.
um, and in hopes that this person will come around and that my love and my overbearingness, fawning will keep them here. And yet I know that it's toxic.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, in relation in toxic relationships, I've had a few of
Yeah.
them. Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the flip side of this is where, we all shared a situation that was, uh, sad or tragic or whatever. What about being in denial about the good things, like how beautiful we are, how
Mm,
smart we are, how creative we can be, how generous we are, how calming we are? What are some good things from your past that you've been in denial about? I weighed 123 pounds at one time, and I found the old Weight Watchers booklets where I weighed in at 123 pounds. Seriously? I was in denial about my beautiful Barbie doll figure and how slim I really was
mhm.
because I always thought I was fat. And now I look at pictures of myself when I was young and I go, oh my God, I was so skinny. I mean, skinny would be the word.
Mhm.
So we can be in denial about a lot of things, particularly for us women, body image, right? But so, what are some positive things that you've been in denial about that are now coming to the forefront or have come to the forefront? Well, right now, I just feel so attractive and so beautiful and so smart. I'm like you, Jill. I would take myself out on a date. Not a problem. Lisa, what about you? Something positive about yourself that you were in denial about?
Well, I think, like, especially in the beginning of my career, and I don't think I'm unique this way, you spend so much time trying to prove yourself
Right.
that you get lost in that, and you don't realize just how much you're actually contributing and what you're actually bringing to the table, because you're like constantly like trying to perform or prove it, and you really had it all along.
Mhm.
There you go. Yes. Jill, what about you?
I think what comes up for me is I never thought I was smart because I went to so many different schools, and I ended up falling behind because of the provincial regulations. I was behind credits by the time I was in grade 10 and trying to catch up. And I never did have my high school diploma. I got an equivalency in my 30s. So I always felt like I didn't have credentials, like I wasn't legitimately educated. I was trained by the military and I had my job. And I didn't recognize my intelligence and my
Mhm.
gifts because of it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I felt I had to have that diploma to
Yes.
validate.
Mhm.
Felt like imposter syndrome. I think we're both talking about imposter syndrome.
Well, we do a whole workshop on, credentials versus credibility. So your credentials are the paper on the wall, but your credibility is really your life's experience.
Mhm.
And that's what really has more value, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say. Right.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's take a little 30-second break and we'll be right back to discuss the 5 steps to coming out of how do I get out of there? Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, you're watching the Today Show here on the Disability Channel. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, your host. And greetings and prayers out to our dear friend, Virginia Clark, who's home recouping today from some surgery on Friday. And Virginia, just letting you know, I had to bring in 2 cohorts to fill your big boots. So just saying, just saying. So we've been talking about being in denial, and there's 2 sides to that coin: being in denial about your past, being in denial about your good looks, being in denial about how smart you are. And even in your family situations, there's a lot of dysfunction within our families. And so, for years, I bragged about my family and always wanted to convince people that they were the best. And, I grew up in this perfect home, and, I was like slinging that kind of stuff. Oh my God, for decades. But when I realized, wait a minute, it's okay if your family's dysfunctional. That's where they're at. It's okay if you came out of a couple of marriages. It's okay, like just being okay with it. Because remember, we can only do the best with the information we have at the time.
Mhm.
So our shows on Monday are about educating with new information so you can make different decisions. So we have a 5-step system, and the first step is to recognize that you're in denial. And as I said earlier, you can be I'm not in denial. Well, sorry, wrong answer, because that's a question. A tip that I give in this part of the workshop is I ask myself every single day, what am I in denial about today? Because what I'm in denial about today, I may not have been in denial about it yesterday, right? So I make sure I go, and we can be in denial about our family situation, our finances, our health. Oh, I see a lot of that. People in denial about the good health or not bad health. Um, Relationships. Am I happy at my job? Am I just there for the paycheck? Am I in denial about my personal happiness? Am I in denial about the dysfunctionality of my kids? What am I in denial about? And there's many, many places and spaces we could go. Any other ideas around that, ladies? Places and spaces where we could be in denial.
Oh, definitely health. People avoid going to the doctor, going to get tests. They just, oh, that symptom will just disappear. I'll just wish it away.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And like making lifestyle choices, knowing that you need to do something, but you're not ready to do it because that takes effort.
Right,
I'll do it
right.
tomorrow. Putting things off.
Yeah, procrastination. Boy, that sure supports denial, doesn't it? Being a procrastinator, there's a good behavior that goes along with it. Lisa, any others?
Yeah, procrastinating is the perfect fit. Yeah. Yeah, I think health is a big one. Health and just how much we move our bodies and our willingness to do that. And I know for me, it's like, no, you need to, girl. Like, hello, right?
Yeah. Or you fall down the stairs and you break your arm, but you don't go get it x-rayed for 3 days.
Mm.
Right.
There are
You can,
people who do
you can
that.
see it's broken, but it'll be all right. Right. And being in denial, if you stay there too long about any one situation, then you can convince yourself that it's okay, and you're still in denial about it.
Hmm.
The self-talk, the
And
self-talk.
you don't you're suffering as long as you're in denial about that issue. You're suffering every day, and it's
That's
taking
right.
away your vitality.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and it builds, and you bring more in.
Mm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chronically, right? How you attract all that. So we have to recognize that we're in denial, okay? And then you can work on it. So what happens, step number 2, when we realize, like when you hit that bag, Lisa, the next thing that happens is the deep feelings, emotions. You know how you can be driving down the highway and you're listening to your tunes, and then all of a sudden you start crying because something in that song made you remember that ex-boyfriend and the separation and the bad way it ended,
Mhm.
and you've never wanted to acknowledge it, but here it is, right in your face, and you're bawling your eyes out. That's what happens when you come out of denial, when you recognize the truth. And you know that old saying, the truth hurts? There's nothing more truthful than that.
Mhm.
So when have you caught yourself, whenever I get emotional like that, I'm happy about it because I'm realizing one more truth I'm realizing. One more thing I'm out of denial about. You don't want to talk to me anymore. It took me years to get over that
Mhm.
because it was my family. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to forgive me. And I was in denial thinking that it could all get patched up. But you can't do that unless people are willing to let it go. And everybody has to be willing to let it go. So then I stopped being sad about it because I had done all my sadness when I realized that relationship was never going to be right again. And I spent years, like you said, Lisa, hoping it would be okay.
Yeah.
Hoping. What's that? Who sang that?
Wishing and hoping and dreaming.
Sing it for us, Jill. Sing it.
I know it's in my head now. That's the earworm of the day.
Yeah. Just wishing and hoping. Who sang that?
Oh, I don't know.
Dusty Springfield?
I have to look it up.
Dusty
I'll,
Springfield.
I'll find it. I'll find it today.
Okay. All right.
Great.
So
Playlist.
yeah. So what kind of emotions, what kind of emotions do we express when we come out of denial? How do we express those emotions? What do we do, Lisa?
Well, it kind of can be two extremes. It can be like when I hit that bag, it was just tears, and I wasn't really, there wasn't like an extreme emotion. It was just like almost like a relief, but can also come out as anger, like just blistering hot anger.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we can cry, lash out to others, be abusive.
Also,
Right.
the release could be also, and I've experienced it myself, where all of a sudden you just think it's just so ridiculous, and you just laugh
Right.
and think, how could I have just how could I have ruminated over this for so long? And it right now, I just feel like it's like an endorphin rush, the release, the realization of it, and yeah, you feel it, and then once it's released, the next thing you know, you've got this, you're lighter.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And you get like a euphoric response.
Another thing that people in denial do, they compare themselves to others by saying, oh, listen, my sister or my girlfriend, she got it way worse than I do.
Oh, comparing people.
Right?
Yeah.
because that comparison makes me feel okay with my whatever it is I'm in denial about. Oh, yeah, you should see her life. Whoa, you wouldn't want that. And then all that in a bag of chips, right? So deep feelings, it's okay. It's normal. When you're having those emotions, that's normal, And I had a client many years ago. She had lost her best friend and she couldn't cry and she had not shed a tear in 30 years. It's not just our men who can't cry. It's our women too. That's how deep the denial is.
Mhm.
Okay. Then when we're in a situation where we don't want to face something, we oftentimes need help.
Mhm.
So this is where a lot of people get stuck, because why do we not want to ask for help? There's a good question, ladies. Why? What keeps us from asking for help? And where we might have to depend on somebody else for a little while till we get that glimmer back, Lisa.
Perhaps we don't want to be a burden to people. We're not able to receive
Oh,
because we don't feel like we're worthy.
gee, nice conclusion.
Mhm. Well, on that comparison thing too, where they, well, they have it worse, so then that the person who's saying, so, well, that person has it worse, so that means that I don't deserve any compassion or help because, well, I'm not as bad off as them, so I just have to knuckle through on my own, and yeah, which is not true, because everybody deserves the support, but somehow they've decided that that person should get the support, not me, because I don't have it as bad. I'll just be fine.
Mhm. Absolutely. And of course, like we said earlier, we can hide behind the big smile, the beautiful home, religion, my bank account, my humor. There's so many ways we can hide,
Mhm.
right? So asking for help also makes us feel incompetent. It leaves us like we can't take care of our own problems. And so, that's the area that we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there.
Well, it's being vulnerable, and
Oh, there you go.
you have to know that the person you're asking is a safe person to share your concerns
Mhm.
with, and some people aren't.
No, that's right. And we find that out the hard way, don't we?
Mhm.
How many knife marks do you have in your back with the blood still coming out? Mhm. The betrayal, right? Okay, we're going to take another little break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how wonderful it is to be independent.
Awesome.
All right. We're here discussing denial today. And thank you for dropping by. We have some people watching the show live right now. And we're here on the Today Show, coming to you from the Disability Channel and right back into our topic of denial. And so there's that first step, recognizing you're in denial. Then
Mhm.
you might have some emotions attached to it, which is perfectly okay. And then the third thing is you may have to ask for help.
Mhm.
Help. And we just had a little chat about why people do not want to ask for help, because they think they have all their own answers, or they're supposed to. And that was confirmed for me by my professional choice as a school teacher. Ugh. We were supposed to know everything and have all the answers. So it was not looking good for us if we were not having all the answers. It was almost like a program, a tape. It was programmed in there. All right. I need help every day now. Okay. So the next one is independent. Now, we are all independent women in this room. So I would like us to expand on that. Um, First of all, I believe it's a good thing to be able to be functional and self sufficient, but have we sometimes carried it to the extreme that we think we can climb the high mountains by ourselves? And once again, that's about not being able to ask for help because we have chosen to be independent women. And
Mhm.
I believe that makes it even harder for us to ask for help. Like Lisa said earlier, we have to be constantly proving ourselves. I was over the top with that. Oh my gosh. Just everything that I ever did was, it had to be the best. It had to be number one. It had to be, and it wasn't about excellence. It was about perfectionism,
Mhm.
which is very, very unhealthy. So, Lisa, over to you. The pros and cons of independence.
Well, being able to make decisions and go forward on your own 2 feet, I think, is very empowering. But in
Mhm.
the same token, if you are doing that as because you don't need anybody and you just stay super busy and you just don't even need to look around, you're missing out on everything that's around you. And even as simple as, you know, when somebody thanks you and you don't say you're welcome, you're not, you're not even giving that little piece to that person who's showing appreciation. And, oh, yeah, whatever, or it's all good, or no, you're welcome. Like they're giving you something when they say thank you. And if you're not even willing to take that from people, um, that's a sign, right? And
Mhm. Definitely.
I think the universe gives us opportunities or puts us in places because now I grew tall fast, so I was always felt like I was the big tall person, and I'm not tall, but when you grow fast you think that. And now I'm in a place where I'm too short like almost every day. And so I have to get help at work almost every day. That's too tall. Oh, let me help you with that, Lisa. And it's like, right on. And they're happy to help, right? They're not like thinking like, oh, she's short. No, they want to help and they're happy to do it. And it's just funny because it's like, okay, yeah, you just can't reach that. Like, it's okay.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Jill, your thoughts on the pros and cons of being an independent woman?
Well, the cons are you turn away people's support. Um, for me, it's I don't even think to ask for help because I've always been the helper. So I tend to start a project and then I get overwhelmed, and then I hear somebody say, "Well, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you ask me? I could have come and helped you with that." Well, I wanted to get it done, and I don't want to be a burden, and so yeah, you tend to burn out when
Mhm.
you're independent because you've got so much on your plate, um, because you don't want or can't even think of asking for support.
Yeah.
Um, however, the pros are, I don't have anybody to say no to me. I do what I want.
Right.
I live alone. I have a dog, and but yeah, there's that, but there's also, being independent, you can be lonely, overwhelmed, um, and not trusting people.
Mhm.
You learn to just live in a certain way and get into a rut
Mhm.
sometimes where you hermit.
Mhm. Hide.
Hmm.
There's another behavior of denial, right? Hiding,
Hmm.
isolating. For me, I was always afraid to ask for help in case they would say no.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would be hurt. How could they do that to me after everything I've done for them?
Oh yes.
See, that tape would play.
Hmm.
So I would tend, if I would ask, this was years ago, I'm talking now. Um, I could ask for help in the business, no problem. But when it came to asking help personally, that's where I hit the wall. So I couldn't transfer that over to my personal side. Very few people knew what was going on for me in my marriage. I didn't reach out when I needed somebody to talk to about certain things personally.
Mm-hmm.
But the business, no problem. I ask for help all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how the two were separate. They were separate. So would we be safe on saying that the independence is now brings us back down to number one? Now we're back in denial again.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a manifestation of the denial, to have some of those attitudes that we just talked about. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where we really want to be is, we use the word interdependent. Excuse me. So we foster that independence within our professional setting, like right here. Like today, Virginia said, Laurie, I said, on Friday, I said to her, don't worry about the show. I can go solo. It's okay. Or I'll get a couple of our colleagues to come in. And then last night she texted me and said, I'm not able to do the show today. But you have to remember, she was under anesthesia. She can remember some of the things she said. She said, did I hear you say that you're going to invite Jill? And maybe Jill, because that's who I told her at first, because I hadn't contacted Lisa yet. I said, oh yeah, everything's looked after. So you see, that's called interdependence. Reaching out and saying, Jill, can you do it? Lisa, can you do it? Virginia can't do it. She's okay with that. So being interdependent means I have people I can go to keep me out of denial. Okay. Now, some people, if Virginia hadn't been so well informed as she is in our workshops and so on, she'd have come on here sick and everything. How many times did you go into work and you were sick?
Oh my.
Oh my. When I left teaching, I had 195 sick days accumulated. I had like a whole year accumulated in sick leave that I never took.
Mm-hmm.
Really? And there were days I went in there, I should never have been in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was ineffective. I was cranky. Took it out on my students.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it feel to be interdependent? It feels wonderful because, like you said, Jill, it allows you to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm having a crappy day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going, oh, it's great. Right?
Yeah.
So interdependence means we need to be vulnerable, let other people know, rely on the support of others, have people in my tribe that I can go to for certain things, because one person can't be all things to everybody. So you have to have different people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm married to Ron, love of my life, but I have other friends that are male, female, outside of the relationship. We don't just hang out with other couples.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's why I'm so glad I found this program, because at this point, the people that I can rely on to help me move forward and be interdependent are the people doing the work in the program, as some people are leaving my life because they're seeing a change.
Mm-hmm. They don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Lisa, comments on interdependence? I know that was a big one for you.
Yes. Yes. Even when, not just asking for help, but if somebody offered, you'd be like, oh, no, I'm good. But now it's like, oh, yes, thank you. That would be great. Let's do this together. It's just freeing. Because when you say no, there's something inside of you that's going, hello, you need the help.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team, this is a group effort situation. This isn't just me standing here going to do it on my own. And when you say no, you're hurting yourself, and you're hurting the person who offered as well, because they put themselves out there, and then you're like, oh no. So you
That
kind
was
of
me.
it's kind of a double whammy when that happens. But yeah, to be interdependent, it just feels like, but well, the world's less lonely, right?
Mm, yeah.
Because you know that there's people willing to help, you're willing to help, and you might be living alone or on your own, but you're not really alone because you haven't shut the door to the world. You just happen to just be on your own in your house, but you're not alone in the world, and it's a completely different place to be.
Hmm.
I like that.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the difference between being lonely and being alone,
Mhm.
because you can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely,
Yeah.
right? You can be in your house all by yourself and not feel alone at all,
No.
not
Or
feel lonely at all.
you can be in your house with someone else near the end of a relationship and feel the most lonely you've ever felt in your life, and there's someone else in your house.
Right.
That's true.
But
Hmm.
yeah, so being comfortable in that new way of, yeah, you might be by yourself, but you're not really. The world's still out there.
That's
Don't
right.
forget to let it in.
Yeah.
That's right. Jill, any thoughts?
Um, I'm just, yeah, the last few weeks I've been integrating some of the things I've learned, and I still feel fresh at this. I still feel like I'm new, but yet, um, I am I'm doing my best to put myself out there, to not hermit. And like I was sharing with you yesterday, I went to a market in Enoch, and I had a wonderful time. I took myself on a date, took
Hmm.
myself to a market, and I networked, and I've um, connected with some women, and I'll be reaching out to them for some healing circles.
Hmm.
So yeah, I had a great time yesterday, and I came home, and it filled my love tanks. You
Hmm.
know, I that's how I and because normally I am an introvert, but I love to connect with people, and I love to meet people who are doing the things that I'm so interested in, and I found that yesterday, and it was so invigorating.
Awesome. Well, I was like Lisa, when I met Ron Davis, he's a mechanic, and I had a little car, I had a little station wagon, and it had broken down, and it was parked at a garage yard, and he said, "Well, why don't you let me fix your car?" And I went, "Oh no, I have my car guy." Like, this guy's like a super duper aircraft mechanic. All right, okay. No, that's okay. I'm dating him. No, that's all right. And then he wanted to buy me a nice piece of jewelry, and I said, "No, that's all right. I've got lots of jewelry." That was that. Can you picture me doing that? And he reminded me of that over and over. He said, "What's with you?" And then I had been collecting some silverware, and Burke's had a big sale. I remember this day, and I did not have a complete set. He said, "Listen, Burke's are having a sale on your silverware. Why don't we go finish off your service, your set? We still use that silver every day." I said, "Oh no, 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 that's fine." So when you do that, you're in denial about some things you need.
Mhm.
And we always resist that we need the most.
Mm, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to
When you
write that
catch
down.
yourself resisting, that's another denial behavior. I really need to go for a walk. I don't want to go for a walk. But the walk is what you really need. So
Mm,
when we find ourselves resisting, that's denial, man. Classic
mhm,
denial.
mhm.
The
Yeah.
fun thing about the universe is what you resist persists. It just keeps coming back.
That's right.
Because
Yes.
sometimes
I
if you
use that
stay
one all the time.
I love that. What you
goes from a
resist.
tap to a punch in the face, like take the tap. Way better.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh. That is
Mhm.
excellent. All right, we're going to take another 30-second break, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show talking about denial today. It's a pandemic. It's an epidemic. You name it. And it's widespread, and it's all around the world. And then to actually deny ourselves our opportunities to feel, to express ourselves, to say what we mean what we say. It's so debilitating. So when we come back, we're going to talk about why we need to get rid of it and why we have to let it go. What are the benefits? Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the Today Show here on the Disability Channel. I'm your host, Dr. Laurie Davis, with my two friends and colleagues and guests, Lisa Horn and Jill Younghusband. And we're doing our version of The View today. Sorry, Whoopi, but we're good. We're good. And we have meaningful conversations on Monday about the facts of life. And today we're discussing denial. So when I finally reach that place, so I've got denial, deep feelings. And the thing is with the steps, you can get stuck in any one of those steps. So denial, I could be stuck there. I could be emotionally stuck. I'm always depressed and anxious and feeling badly. Dependence, I can be stuck there because I don't want to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Independent, I'll do it my way or the highway. Yep. I told Ron, if I pass away before him, my song is going to be I Did It My Way by Frank Sinatra. Here's a good example of independence. And then, of course, the blissful place is interdependence. And that means knowing that I'm vulnerable, that I'm not always going to have what I need to do it on my own, that I could reach out for others and ask for help. I'm there to help others when they need it. So what are some of the benefits of getting out of denial and staying out of there?
Self-confidence.
Yes.
Building self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Healthier relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You're building trust.
Boy, those are big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're trusting yourself and you're trusting others. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. Yeah.
What else, Jill? You were going to say something else there too.
Boundaries, setting up healthy boundaries. When you recognize certain behaviors are not supporting your health and wellness or in your emotional, mental health, you have to establish healthy boundaries. But you first have to recognize it. You got to come out of denial before you can set the boundaries. Right?
That's right. That's right.
And according to my late mentor, Peter Keto, my boundaries were a little porous.
I see. That's a good word.
Never forget it. I can hear it. I hear him every day in my mind. You're a little porous, Jill. How are you doing? How are your boundaries?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Those are awesome benefits. Lisa, you got some more?
I think there's a feeling of peace because when you're independent or even dependent, you're having to be always on, and you're rigid, and you're almost defensive in your approach to the world, right? And so if you're interdependent, you're not worried about what's coming towards you. You're moving towards it, right? Because you're not. If you trust yourself and you trust and you're going to give people trust, then there's a piece to that, and just the ability to move forward and allow the flow. You're not trying to control everything in your life. It's not about, and so then you see things that you would never have seen otherwise, and there's new opportunities, and you welcome new people in that you wouldn't have even seen before because
Mm.
you're not worried about that.
Mhm.
You're just not worried about it. You're just not worried.
Mhm.
For me, there's a sense of there's a greater enjoyment in life when you're surrounded with healthier relationships and more order in life because you
Mhm.
take better care of yourself. Less stress, less drama.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be worth taking a look at, don't you think? If you were in denial and you don't know how to get out, we can help you with that.
Mhm.
For me, when I was in denial, I was always projecting what was wrong with everybody around me.
Mhm.
That was another behavior. So, because I was in denial about what I was uh, putting out there, then I put that outside of myself, and I was always looking for the flaws in
Yeah.
people and not seeing the best. And when you're in denial, you're actually always kind of like dodging bullets.
Mm.
Woo, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't see that coming because you were in denial. So you didn't get to see it before because you were resisting to see it. And so you're dodging bullets all the time.
And you really
And
just see what's wrong with everything instead of what's
that's
good
right.
about everything. Like if you're
Exactly.
in the BMW, the bitch moan whine, it takes a lot of energy. And you don't get to see what's good about every
Right.
situation has something that sucks. There's probably no doubt about it. But every situation has something good.
Yeah. You
Mhm.
don't know how to look for the gifts because you're in denial that there are any gifts,
Mhm.
right? So one time it took me 5 years to find the gifts. Now it takes me 5 seconds.
Mhm.
Even in a bad situation, what's the message there? That's data that I need so I can make a better decision, a more informed decision. The bad stuff is okay. Those people are in denial and they don't know how to get out of there. But you do now. So once you have new information, we have to change because then we have the info,
Yeah.
right? We have the
Totally.
info. So if I ask myself that question today, what am I in denial about today? Well, I'm in denial about the fact that I need to hydrate.
Mhm.
So I get my 8 glasses of water on the counter, fill them up, and my day's not done till they're gone.
Mhm.
Right? Exactly. So taking action, taking action. When you realize that you're in denial about something, take action. Don't procrastinate. Don't put it off. Just do it.
Mhm.
We spend more time angsting about it than it would have taken just to do it.
Oh,
Yes,
Right?
I know that one so well.
Right? I've angst about cleaning out that closet now for 3 months. Well, it would take me like an hour to clean it out. So just do it. All the energy, right? All the energy I put on angsting about it, I could have done more business and made some more money. Like, really?
Oh, I'm guilty of that one so
Oh,
bad.
yes. Oh, yeah. All right. Any words of encouragement before we close the show down to say to our viewers about denial? Something you'd like to say that would be uplifting and encouraging?
Mm. I'm just gonna say if you're in crisis and if you are recognizing some of the symptoms of denial in this discussion that we're having, reach out. Reach out. You're not alone, and there are people who can help you, including Dr. Laurie and me. And yeah, if you want to get connected, reach out to me or reach out to Lisa. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, just want to
Totally.
say to my friends who are watching, thank you. And there are supports out there.
Mhm. Thank you. Lisa, words of encouragement?
I think that even just in the beginning stages of even just recognizing where we're at, and if you feel like you're really inside your own head, is just even just when you're out and about and getting groceries, just look at other people and smile.
Mm, yeah.
And like sometimes you'll get a smile back, and the look in their eye is like that's the only one they maybe get today.
Mhm.
Right.
Offer it.
Be
Yeah,
kind. Yeah.
yeah,
Be kind.
just be kind. Recognize everybody's going through something, and it's just a lot lighter to go through your day with a smile than a frown.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for watching. And ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real thrill. And tomorrow we'll be back with our Dr. Ramin Modiri. And I don't know what he has planned for us for finance, but it's always something fun. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station.
All right.
So bye, everybody, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Good to be here.
All right.